Schultz.
Here.
Al Poole.
Here.
Mike Cunningham.
Here.
Marta Smith. Here. And Marcy Husted here.
Need to add one thing to the agenda. It's going to be policy for consulting by former township officials. We actually don't have a policy. We've done a resolution in the past. We should have a policy in place. So that will be item number 15 under new business. Any other changes? Take a motion.
So moved. Support.
Been motion and supported to approve the agenda as amended. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next is approval of the consent agenda. Board workshop meeting minutes from July 25th, 2017. Regular board meeting minutes from July 25th, 2017. Treasurer's report, clerk's warrants, bills.
I do have, just a question on the notes. You weren't here, were you, Al, for the workshop last time?
No, for the planning
'Cause-
commission workshop?
Yeah, because we
No, I
had you absent for the meeting, so if we can change that trustee Al Poole was not at the workshop?
Oh, this is for the board meeting, no, not the workshop.
This
Or-
is workshop.
Oh, I was here for that. I wasn't here for that planning commission, that extra meeting.
No, this
but-
is the regular board meeting on the 25th.
Yeah, I was here for the workshop then.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right, so I misread that. Strike what I said.
Okay.
I got mixed up. Sorry.
So moved. Support. Good motion and supported to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next, communications. Fire run report from July 25th, 2017. The Planning Commission approved meeting minutes from June 13th, 2017. The Planning Commission meeting synopsis from July 18th, 2017. Hart invoice 7/31/2017 for the election equipment. And Livingston County Sheriff's report from July 2017.
So moved. Support.
It's been motioned and supported to receive and place communications 1 through 5 on file. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. There's an opportunity to make public remarks. We'll have 2 opportunities to do it right now and then at the end of the meeting. So if anybody wanted to make any comments about any business that we're conducting tonight or anything else, now's the time to do it. And if you do, please state your name and your address so we have it for the record. Okay, we have no public comments. We have no unfinished business. So we're going to move into new business. We have a Livingston County Sheriff's presentation about the Deerfield Township training range. Lieutenant? You wanna-
Actually, I'm going to go first. if it's
Okay.
I just want to take a minute to introduce myself. My name's Jeff Porter, and I'm the newly appointed undersheriff here at the Sheriff's Office. I'm trying to get around all the townships, and I first want to say I know how important township government is to county government. I love townships. Part of my background from where I came from, I actually was a lieutenant, and I was in charge of a township substation where we had deputies assigned there. We had 35 deputies assigned there, so and I had a great working relationship with that board. I look forward to having a great relationship with all our boards and all our township boards, and I just want to thank you for all your support. I know we have 2 great deputies up here, and I know they love being up here. This is a great township, and I've had a chance to come up here a couple times. I'm a water skier, so yes, I've been at action a few times too, so I really love it up here.
They really like it when you bring your money.
Yeah. The problem is I have no money to bring, so every time I go in there, I just drool and have to leave, but that's another story. But anyways, I look forward to a great career here at Livingston County. I'm very, obviously you guys know what a supportive sheriff you have, and you know how much he loves this community, loves Livingston County, and also Tyrone Township. He's nothing but great things. So that's it. I'm here to answer any questions if you got any questions. I won't bore you anymore.
No, everything's working fine. Our contract cars are doing well. Our response times are down. Residents are happy. You know, they're visible, they're seen, and, you know, I haven't had any negative comments about any of them. So, yeah, we're doing good.
Well, that's awesome. You have 2 great, obviously you know that, but 2
Yep.
great deputies up here also. So that's cool to see too. So now I'm going to introduce our newly appointed lieutenant. Mike Nast. He's got a
Thank you.
presentation he'd like to present to you, but we're really excited. He will be in charge of our uniform services, which is where all our patrol, our field services people fall under. So we're looking forward to him doing a great job. We're excited to have him. He did a great job as a sergeant, so that was the only negative. We lost him in the sergeant ranks, but I know that's going to carry on through as he services as a lieutenant. So with that, I'll turn it over to him. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll have to use your flash drive because I can't get to the server, but at least
Oh, you'll be able to get it up
I
on
can
here?
get it on your
Okay.
flash drive.
Well, that works.
While she's getting that going, thank you for giving me your time here today. As stated, my name is Lieutenant Mike Nast. One of my responsibilities is I'm the range master for the sheriff's office, and what that means is that I design, coordinate, and facilitate all firearms training. Inventories to the training, reporting to the state, making sure deputies are doing the right thing and being trained in the right disciplines, so on and so forth. One of the issues that we've been confronted with here recently is we need to find a new training range. Just because of our size and because of the different things that we would like to do, we're currently using a public range, which somewhat limits the dates that we have access and so on and so forth. It'd be nice if we had our own to where we have that flexibility. So back in May, I approached the Road Commission, the managing director, Mike Crane, talk about some different gravel pits that are owned by the county to see if there's anything that is already owned by the county that we might be able to use. I went ahead and I went to all 11 gravel pits around the county, and the one in Deerfield Township seems to fit our needs the most. Technically it's in Deerfield Township, but it is relatively close here to Tyrone Township, which is why we're here to explain what we're thinking, get an idea if you guys have any concerns, not only the board, but also the residents, and so on and so forth. The specific, is that, there it was.
Yeah, I'm trying.
The specific pit that we're looking at is approximately 1/2 mile west of McGuire Road on the south side of Fawcett Road. So about 1/2 mile outside of Tyrone Township, as you can see right here. There's about a 400 to a 500 yard easement that gets back to the pit. This pit is essentially, to some degree, been abandoned by the Road Commission. They've not used it for any Road Commission purposes for 20 years.
Me neither.
You are the man. Now we're cooking.
There we go. So there again, as you can see, it's a 45-acre gravel pit. It's owned by the Road Commission. It's not currently active. They're not mining it. They're not really doing anything with it. We thought that, you know, it has a lot of benefits that we need, and we could put it into use. So as up here on the board there, during the months of May and June, I went door to door to several of the residents in the area. I made contact with every resident that has a property that butts up to the property itself, and then some. I pretty much covered all of Heritage Hill, the north and the south side of Fawcett towards McGuire, the west side of McGuire all the way to Allen, the north side of Allen all the way over towards the lake. I went back and I hit a few of the homes up and down McGuire on the Tyrone side. Everyone seems to be very supportive of it. They've all given me verbal support. Kind of the general consensus is, while we may not be crazy about it, they're already using it for recreational shooting anyway. We would rather have you guys out there. You're a little more accountable. You have training, different things of that nature. Quite frankly, that was kind of the response. What we would be doing is primarily our range training goes from May through October. Every Monday from roughly 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. we have a range day. It's on every deputy. It's a personal responsibility of theirs to get to the gun range every single month. So, you know, sometimes if it's bad weather, it might be a real light day and waiting for a little bit nicer weather, so on and so forth. Or if you wait too long, you're stuck. If you have no more Mondays to go, you gotta go regardless of the weather, if it's the last Monday of the month. On occasion, there's 2 Mondays throughout the summer season there that fall on a holiday. We're not gonna run a range day on a holiday, we'll run that on Tuesday of that week. Therefore, adding to some of that flexibility that we needed. Our tactical team, which I'm the tactical commander, we do train the 4th Wednesday of every month generally. A very small portion of our training time is actually on the range, believe it or not. We do a lot of stuff in buildings and classes and different things like that. So there will be the occasional Wednesday that we pop out there. Pretty soon here, we're in the process of getting a number of suppressors for our tactical team. So the firearms shooting that they do, you won't hear, specifically their long guns. Some of the concerns from some of the residents along the way: this area, this facility, this training range will not be open to the general public. It will not be for profit. It will be for the Livingston County Sheriff's Office training only. Along the way, as I was talking to all the residents, those that were willing, I took emails. I'm going to create an email group. So if things change, if at the last minute we decide we need to go do something, I can blast that out to that email group, all 65 plus, whoever. So they have some notification that we're going to be out there, so they know it's not, the neighbor down the road or whatever the case may be. Also, my hope there was that that'll open up dialogue. If there's an issue, if there's a problem, they can contact me. I'll address that issue, whatever it may be. Naturally, as I said before, this has been used for recreational shooting for 20 plus years. Live in the area, they drive out there. The hope is that once we get out there and start shooting, hopefully some of that will go away. But scenario-based training, in addition to the actual firearms, we have these things called simunitions, which is kind of a fancy version of paintball guns. But what they are is they allow us to use our actual weapon systems with a modification. It shoots a projectile that's wax-based, and it has a color dye in it. So it hurts. It hurts much like a paintball gun, so you can add that elevated level of stress to the deputies, but it's not going to actually injure them, nor would we have to worry about safety of it getting outside of our impact zone. You're not going to hear it. It sounds a lot like a pellet gun. There's a lot of different things we could do out there. We can do felony traffic stops. We can do rural apprehensions. We can do down officer recoveries. The space is private enough and has enough space where we can take cars and do some different things and actually get into that scenario-based training. Scenario-based training is where it's at right now, because essentially once you start to stress the officer, that's when you begin to see flaws or areas that you might want to correct as a trainer.
Is there potential to do any active shooter training out there?
We would be doing active shooter training on our own, yes. Yes. Or were you referring to the public, with the public?
No, I was just wondering if you guys were going to be doing that out there.
Most active shooter training is generally designed for inside of a structure, and we don't have a structure out there. It's all wide open. But we would definitely incorporate whatever we could
Sure.
to elevate that level of training for the officers, the deputies.
Can I ask you a question, or you want me to wait?
Go ahead.
How many deputies are going to be using this?
Every deputy that's firearms trained within the Livingston County Sheriff's Office will be going out there once a month. That would include all corrections folks, which are somewhere near 65, I believe, sworn.
Yes.
You know, and then all of our field services folks, which is somewhere around that 35 to 40 number, as well as administrative staff. You're looking at anywhere from 80 to 100 cars. Basically, I know where you're going with this.
You're right.
80 to 100 marked patrol cars coming in and out of that area over the course of a month.
Sure.
On Mondays. So they'll be taking calls on the way to the range, because they know they got to get to the range. Once they clear the range, they'll be checking in and taking calls on the way out. So whatever calls are close to that region are going to get handled first. That's
Someone let the cat out of the bag. You sort of did, but we have a sheriff's station that's kind of in the central part of the community, and that's their hub. We're bringing them closer to our community when they're doing their training, so it puts more of them in the area, and it's it's an added benefit if something happens, if they're there. So, yeah, it's a win.
And then like that next point, that this facility or this training area will greatly benefit the sheriff's office by expanding our training. There again, you see a lot of stuff in the news. We can't train our guys enough. We gotta constantly push that envelope, continue to press, continue to find areas that we can improve on, and so on and so forth. It's gonna make a better, well-rounded training deputy, as well as, and then the community's gonna receive the benefit from that.
And it's not going to cost the taxpayers the time to do this.
Nothing. We're not asking for any money to do anything. So a little more specifically, the area that we're actually looking at shooting is actually 757 yards south of Fawcett Road. It's that far off the road. I have taken a NRA approved range designer out there, and I've spoken with him about the different things. There's a few things that I need to do to get it up to speed. Not a big deal. It'll be very cheap, and we'll do that before we go live. Basically, I need to clean the vegetation off the impact area to ensure there's no hazards, and I need to sign the property a little better. Along the way, we need to improve the road a little bit, but that's going to be a training mission for the road commission. Apparently, they have some new people, and they're willing to go out there and actually train some of their new drivers and operators by fixing the road going in. We will have training signs posted out near the roadway. We're going to kind of use, if anyone's been in the military uses the red flag team whenever there's a hot range. There's going to be a flip down red flag on that signpost out by the road. So when our range goes hot, we're going to flip that red flag down. That'll be an indicator to the residents driving in the area that we are present on the range and we're training. When we're done for the day, we'll flip that red flag back up. We're clear and on the way. All residents that I met with are aware of that. We will increase some of the no trespassing signage around the property. It needs a little bit of that. Every deputy that goes out there will have a certified instructor present and an approved course of fire designed. And they will not be just out there going out there on their own, shooting and doing whatever they want to do. There's going to be a design course and an instructor will be present for safety. I guess I jumped ahead of myself. There's additional signage to deter trespassing. The backstop. The backstop is roughly 50 feet below the normal Earth's surface. The backstop currently has some young vegetation and some really small trees and whatnot in the area. On that area, basically, we're going to pull that out, get rid of some of that vegetation so that we can make sure there's no hazards that lay right at the surface. I want to make sure there's no boulders, anything that's going to cause ricochets or deflections of the rounds. We're going to be responsible for every round that we put downrange, basically. This map right here is a topographical map, and it shows contour lines. Every one of those contour lines represents 10 feet in elevation. Areas, the close area there, that's going to be some of our handgun training, as well as short rifle, shotgun related training. There, like I said, and that's going to be shooting into a bank that's roughly 50 feet above. And above that are mature hardwood trees that are plus years old. I really feel very confident that we will not have any safety issues with this range, and it's going to be very minimal to get it up to grade, up to par, basically. The other direction of fire down low, that was more or less for some of our long-range shooters. Few and far between of the guys that are going to be shooting at that distance, but that's roughly 250 yards. That point to the impact area. That in a nutshell is what we're looking at doing. All along I've kept, and I've been discussing this with Deerfield Township as well as the Road Commission just recently. Due to the proximity, how close it is to Deerfield Township, Tyrone, I went ahead and approached Mr. Cunningham to let him know what the idea was and how we would like to come to the meeting and give you a more formal presentation, see if there are any concerns from either the board or the public. Because we're pretty close on this one until if we hear an issue, then I'd like to address it. If not, we're pretty close to starting to dig some dirt up a little bit and start to let the lead fly. Into the room.
Yeah, in the boat.
Are there any concerns, any questions?
Sounds like you got all the bases covered already, so.
Definitely appreciate the communications, so that if anyone does want to know what's going on, we can inform.
And there again, I didn't get to everybody on McGuire Road. Not everybody was, some lived quite a ways off. But should they call in, they have issues, I think you already have my business card. If you'd like to give them my contact information, I'd be happy to talk with them, see if I can
Okay.
address their concerns, whatever the case may be.
Perfect.
And
Thank
if
you.
anyone on the board wants to be on
I think the
my-
card that I have still says sergeant, though.
Well, at that time, it's-
I saw it when it came up, so congratulations.
Network business card.
He's got to use all those first.
no, I do have new ones. I can get you a new one.
Well, thank you for your time, gentlemen. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate it. It's always nice to see the sheriff face to face rather than your rearview mirror. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Next, we have presentation of our township audit by Gabbridge and Company.
No, I can't get to it.
Good evening. I'd like to thank the board for allowing us to serve as your audit firm. It very much is a pleasure working with the staff, both of the township and from Plant Moran. Everybody is very cooperative, very professional. They provided all the information that we requested, the financial statements, all the backup schedules that we needed to substantiate and verify the revenues, expenses, assets, and liabilities of the township. And accordingly, we rendered an unmodified opinion. You can find that at the very bottom of page 1. So of the 60-page audit report, the opinion paragraph is the most important item. And unmodified, just another way of saying clean. It's the highest level of opinion that we can render on financial statements. And I'll just quickly read off the opinion paragraph. We state that, in our opinion, the financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial condition of the township as of March 31st, 2017. So it doesn't sound flattering, but it is the highest level of opinion that we can render on financial statements. And basically, it means that the controls are suitably designed, they're operating effectively, the financial statements are accurate, they're timely, and throughout the process, we didn't have any adjusting journal entries that we proposed. Everything that we received was very accurate and certainly made for an efficient audit process from start to finish. The next section of the audit report that I take readers through is management's discussion and analysis. I've got roughly 60 pages. Sometimes it's difficult to understand what all the different schedules and financial statements mean. At times, it looks like the same numbers are being presented multiple times. This management discussion and analysis section is kind of a Cliff Note version of the entire audit report. And it helps explain what all those financial statements mean, the different measurement basis, the different types of accounting that's used, long-term versus short-term. In addition to that, it also has financial highlights. It's got some bullet points that show some of the key ratios as of the end of the fiscal year for the township. It's got comparative financial statements so you can see what 2016 looked like compared to 2017, just to give some historical context as to what the numbers mean and what the overall direction is going for certain revenues and expenses. And lastly, in addition to that, it also has narrative. So it explains some of the significant changes in revenues and expenses of the township during the past year. So going through the financial highlights on page 4, the first bullet point shows that as of year end, the township has $18,096,928 of net position. This is on the long-term basis of accounting. So if we take all the infrastructure of the township and we back off the long-term debt, all the obligations attached to it, the residual is $18 million. In the corporate world, we would call this equity, the different liabilities. But this is very much a theoretical number. It doesn't mean there's $18 million of cash sitting in the township's bank account. It is good. It's a useful number to see. We want to see this number increasing over time, but we want to keep in mind that it's very much theoretical. As we work through the rest of that first bullet point, we can see that the township has $7,252,971 as of March 31st, 2017 in unrestricted net position. So that's a much more liquid or a better representation of how much resources the township has without any constraints. It's not tied up into infrastructure, things of that nature, to cover the day-to-day cost of maintaining and operating the township. Second bullet point down, now we get into the modified accrual, or I would call it the cash basis of accounting. So it's very short-term focus. As of year end, March 31st, 2017, the total fund balances of the township were $7,415,204, and that was an increase of $777,639. In other words, cash in and the immediate resources that the township received exceeded cash out and the obligations, the immediate obligations of the township by $777,639. So a very good sign. About 16.5% of that 7.4 million is classified as unassigned fund balance, and that's $1,223,110. When we back off all of the various restrictions and other constraints that are placed on those fund balances, we peel all that off, we get to the unassigned amount, and that is the best representation of how much is available without any strings attached, or with limited strings attached, I should say, to cover the wages and the utilities and the day-to-day cost of running the township. So $1.2 million. The third bullet point shows what that number is indexed compared to the annual operating expenditures and transfers out of the township. So we take the $1.2 million, we divide that by the general fund expenditures and net transfers out. That's 117% of is total fund balance compared to the expenditures. We'd like to see that number being north of 50% for our townships in the state of Michigan. You guys are at 117%. Not too much, not too little, very stable, very sound position as of March 2017. And showing that the township is in sound financial condition as of year end. Working through the rest of the report, if you want to turn to page 7. A couple quick numbers I wanted to point out here. First, if you look at the unrestricted net position of the township, we can see what the unrestricted number looked like for the total government or the total township across all the funds as of December 31st, 2016. It was $7,221,062. That number increased by $32,000 roughly to $7,253,191. So total net position increased, as did total unrestricted net position, and which is certainly a good sign. So when we back off it's good that total net position is increasing, but the net position that doesn't have any type of constraints or restrictions placed on it has also increased during the past 2 years, or during the past year. If you want to turn to page 9, you get a look at the revenues and expenses. Again, this is on a comparative. These are comparative revenues and expenses for both 16 and 17. Just a couple of unique items that stand out here. First, the charges for services increased from about $1.6 million to just a little bit less than $2 million. A lot of that had to do with a land contract that the township issued here in 2017. The very next row down, the capital grants and contributions were almost $1.9 million during 2015. That number decreased to about $45,000 during 2017. And that is a result of back in 2016 that the township issued a special assessment for the Lake Tyrone sewer improvements.
Okay.
And that was a one-time revenue. So just a little bit of things that are somewhat skewed in terms of comparability. And then lastly, the public works, if you look about halfway down the comparative expenses, Public Works came in at $1,404,846 during 2016, and that number increased to $1,560,890 as of 2017. That's a result of larger street projects that had begun during 2017. Next, if you want to turn to page 18, just a couple more pages I wanted to point out. On 18, we look at the fund balance sheet, and I would think of this as being the cash basis balance sheet for the township. First column shows the general fund, and we can see that not only does the general fund have total fund balance of $6,190,578, it's also got the positive unassigned fund balance, as well as various amounts that are either tied up in non-spendable categories or committed or assigned. When you look at the other public safety fund and the other governmental funds, you can see that all of the funds of the township have positive fund balances. None of them are reporting any type of deficit, which is always a good sign. Many of our municipalities are struggling to show positive fund balances across all of the funds. That's not the case here at Tyrone Township. Each fund is in healthy and stable financial condition as of March 31st, 2017. And if you want to turn to page 45, the last item that I wanted to point out, one of the things that is important to us as auditors is how well our clients are staying on top of their finances throughout the course of the year. How actively are they monitoring their financial condition, how actively are they monitoring their budgets and actual appropriations compared to budgeted appropriations. And this is page 45, the comparative, or the general fund budget statement. And you can see that every line item in the general fund had a positive budget variance. So there were no line items that were over budget in the general fund, which is always a very good sign. Proves to us as auditors that the township is staying on top of its finances throughout the course of the year and amending its budget accordingly. Those are the highlights I wanted to cover, and I'm more than happy to answer any other questions the board might have.
Excellent presentation, thank you. Any comments?
Seems like we're doing pretty good.
I mean, when you
What a difference.
compare to last year, our only significant differences are with the land, when we purchased land and then made sales, so.
What a difference 10 years makes, huh?
Looks good. No deficit elimination plans. Yes.
Does anybody out there have any questions about that? Like anything? Be a good time to ask. All right, thanks. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Joe.
Next is item number 3, Economic Development Council of Livingston County. And Ann Arbor Spark presentation.
I
Came
have it.
prepared. Oh, she has it.
I
Yeah,
have it
I
on
set
my
it over to
desktop.
her. I had to put it on her desktop.
Just
It's
have
there
to
somewhere.
find.
It's one of those. Which one is it?
Well, it should be one of the, here it is.
There we go.
Look at that.
Like all up and running.
Getting high tech is
Everything's working.
You guys are going.
Hi. Thanks for having us here. My name is Rich Perlberg. I'm Chair of the Economic Development Council of Livingston County. It's Phil Sanger, who's representing Spark. I've been in Livingston County since 1974. It's hard to say that out loud. That's 43 years. It's a long time. Until a few years ago, I spent most of my career as involved with newspapers and last publisher of the Livingston County Daily Press and Argus. I was fortunate in that through almost all that time I lived here and worked here, I was able to block walk, and never more than 10 miles. Many people can't do that. This is very much great reasons to live here. We decided to make this our home a long time ago. We've got a great president. And as I've worked my way up through the business and got to know the county more, it seemed clear that the one thing we needed was to have expanded diverse employment base to supplement and support that was one of the big reasons I got involved in the Development Council. And the last 6 years we've been contracted with Spark out of Ann Arbor, which has given us they provide great knowledge, great contacts, great networking, and it allows us to expand our network for both recruiting and providing retention services to businesses that come to Livingston County. We've been able to do this because we have great support from municipalities and private donors. Tyrone is one of them. So we're here to give a presentation. I'm going to turn it over to Phil in just a second to talk about what Spark has been and the EDC have been able to do in the county and for Tyrone Township, when more importantly, what opportunities we have in the future. We're in a position where we've been doing 3-year contracts and we'll be looking for will be available to answer. Phil, you sent the presentation.
I did, yeah, but we'll try and go through it really briefly here and then open it up for questions. So thanks, Rich, and I also want to thank David Walker for his participation as part of the board. I also wanted to introduce Marshall Gaborowski, who we were able to recruit away from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, been a long resident of Livingston County, and we're excited to have her experience and expertise as part of our program. So I'll try and go briefly through some quick slides here. I wish this were probably as cool as a shooting training range or a really good water report. And as much as like economic development, I'd probably like hearing about that a little bit more. But quickly, just the role in terms of what we do with Spark and with the Economic Development Council of Livingston County. So the work we've done here with Tyrone Township, and then also a little look ahead. So this is our mission statement overall. I know I've been here in front of the board before, so you may be familiar with this presence overall, but really trying to encourage that we connect with the business community and help them grow and maximize the overall economic purpose of our region. This is some of the work that we do in Livingston County that we've had since we had our relationship here. These are some of the things that we track on a fairly regular basis in terms of new investments that are going on, new job commitments that are happening, the amount of funds that we're leveraging from state or other grant opportunities, and the amount of people that, when we call on a business, those are the amount of people that are employed at those businesses here in Livingston County. And then another factor that we just started adding in is the amount of payroll impact that those employees, those new employees have on the community, because that's what's ultimately providing the lifeblood to our retail and our commercial sector, our people being able to shop and participate in those activities. And then I think it's important to note the, I guess, financial or fiscal responsibility that I think the EDC has in terms of the amount that is the average spend for most communities around Michigan on economic development. Here in Livingston County, it's obviously far below that, and I think speaks to the fiscal responsibility that we have in Livingston County. So we know this is our economic development is a regional activity. Businesses think and operate really without the boundaries that we often think about on the public side of the coin. This was a zip code analysis that we had done that I think really illustrates that fact well. It's three of the largest employers in Livingston County. We asked them to tell us where their employees live. You can see that there's a heat map, so red means there's a higher concentration. But you can see that they're coming from all over the place. And I recognize the person who's probably at the way top of Michigan as a hopefully a telecommuter or something like that. So this is an overview of our services. We're being proactive in our outreach to the business community. When we identify an opportunity that could be an opportunity for business growth or expansion or location, we consider that part of our project portfolio, and we work with those companies actively to help them understand why they should do that investment here as opposed to elsewhere. One of the areas that's become extremely important over the past few years has been talent engagement. You may have seen news recently that Livingston County has the lowest unemployment rate in the state. It's less than 3%. That's a good news statement on the one hand. For those of us in economic development, though, that means we have a lot of work to do to be able to connect the dots for our business community. It means there's probably not enough people that are out there available for these businesses moving forward. And then we also work with our community partners to provide technical assistance from some of the things that are involved in the economic development world. That's where I feel like we can partner as part of the township staff to be able to hopefully provide some assistance. So this is kind of an overview of some of the things that we've worked on because talent has become so important. Really, we're trying to work on connecting the dots from the employees that are here to help them understand what job opportunities are available in their own backyard, and then also work with the business community to help them access training funds, tools that they might not know about. So for example, My Bright Future is something that's being deployed at the high school level to allow students that are thinking about their careers, have them get engaged directly with companies that are in their own backyard. So for example, if you're interested in chemical engineering, you can talk to a PhD at ChemTrend in Howell and ask questions about what their career development has been like. And then we also have things like our job portal, which ties into the state of Michigan's job portal. Something like over 90,000 jobs are available right now on the state of Michigan's portal. So there's a lot of need out there for talent. These are some of the community assistance offers that we have available, where we really want to partner with our municipal partners in Livingston County and provide you with an overview of tools or things that you might be able to take advantage of, and also work with opportunities as they come in the door to be part of that team, that project team, that will hopefully help land a deal. Example of this, and I believe the Township Board is familiar with the PA 198. It's called a lot of different things. It's called IFT, IFE, IFEC. It gets really confusing and is overly confusing in certain cases. This is a tool that we have a lot of experience with, and we'd be happy to partner with you to help, whether it's setting a policy. We have some best practices associated with that, understanding and connecting with the people at the Department of treasury, which are the folks that are ultimately deciding on these, as well as working with the business community to help them through that process. So it's one of the things that we provide. So we know, and Rich had mentioned this, that Livingston County is a bedroom community, and I think in a slide here in a second we'll talk a little bit about some opportunities that we've identified, and we know that that's true for Tyrone Township as well. Most of the folks that are here because they can provide as a great community to raise a family in, to be able to afford a home, and then go elsewhere for employment. So we want to make sure that we're supporting the employment centers for the residents of Tyrone Township, as well as support the growth of the economy here as well. One of the things that we also provide, this is a little bit of the details. If you get into data and you're kind of nerdy about this sort of stuff, this is information that we can provide not only on the demographic side, but also in a way to indicate perhaps to a commercial opportunity to figure out what are the demographics, what are the income sets that are around the area, and is there a way that we can try and pitch that or use that as a way to pitch that for why they should potentially open up an operation. So looking ahead, a few months ago, the EDC board sat down for a full day and really took a look at all the work that was being done in Livingston County overall. And there was a desire on behalf of the board to really say, what are some things that we should be thinking about as a community going forward? And there were sort of three buckets that we identified as areas that we wanted to pay further attention to. One was on the talent side, obviously. So to indicate what are the gaps between what are the open job opportunities here in Livingston County versus what we have in terms of our overall employment base that are living here. Secondly was land use. So there's a lot of greenfield space available in Livingston County. We wanted to compare that with what the demand was currently for real estate opportunities, and there's a fairly significant gap. And then lastly, wanted to look at some benchmarking, some overall metrics, not only from counties that are within Michigan, but also taking a look at about 8 peer counties that are outside of the state of Michigan, but are like Livingston County, and where do we rank on some factors. And that's led, I think, to some really interesting information. It was like a 65-page report that we provided to the board, which frankly is probably too big of a report. And what we're trying to do now is narrow that down in terms of the action items that we can work on. So an example that came out of that, obviously healthcare investment has been an important part of the past few years in Livingston County, and we have started basically a healthcare roundtable, trying to bring in all the education providers around the area to connect them with the folks that are doing the healthcare investments, to make sure they understand what the needs are, and to make sure that the educational providers understand what the sort of curriculum needs could be moving forward. This is our team, but I know I wanted to make sure that we had a little bit of time for question, and
I can put one other point in. I've had an off and on relationship with the EDC. Started when I was off, and then came back in. Mark was signed. Our contract has just been a great. Had 5 directors in the past, but we only had 1 person. That person left. We were professional support. With Spark, in fact, we just went through, somebody left, and Marcia, who was sources, which defines all of what Spark brings to us. They're smart people, not just bright, but they're also well connected. They understand how economic development works. They understand how the state programs work, and are able. It also gives us the great resources from Ann Arbor, so when they travel to the Upper Peninsula or to West Coast to do our recruiting trips, they're representing Livingston County, and we never could have been able to afford that. So we're able to provide more services than we did, more resources than we did, and if you saw the one slide versus the one I like, we're doing it for $2.25 a person in Livingston County, when the typical cost across the state, because everybody tries to do is what, $13? It was about 13. So we're still very cost effective and able to more continuous resources because of our affiliation with Spark.
Final piece I'll have on that. The other part, I think I've always viewed sort of our team as hopefully as an extension of township staff, and I know there might be questions related to continued investment and why you would want to take part as part of the economic development program. I'd love for the opportunity to sit down and see if we can identify some specific things that would be related to a deliverable aspect on some areas that would be really getting into the weeds, I think, and some of the opportunities that would be going on in Tyrone Township. I think there's an opportunity to do so. I think there's a desire on our part to be able to have that conversation, and would love to be able to consider that going forward.
Yeah, I think what we should do is possibly do like a workshop, prior to discussion that we had earlier, and that way we can just kind of sit down and roll up the sleeves and have a conversation, and see what it all means to us, and how this looks going forward. So I think that would be ideal, and we can get all of our questions and concerns answered, and see what we need to go from there. So
We'll do a deep dive then.
sounds good. I appreciate it, Phil. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Thanks, guys.
Next is item number 4, discussion of the Spicer Engineering quote for the proposed drain. That's the intercounty drain, the Orchard Park drain. The board, we had some discussion regarding this future assessment that was coming up, and what does it look like, and what's it going to cost our residents, and what the whole thing means. And we kind of talked with Spicer and said, we'd like to get another set of eyes on this before we get this thing moving forward and make any decisions on what we're going to do. So they prepared us a quote. Basically, the quote's, do a site visit, take a look at it, look at the proposed drain plans, work with the current engineering firm that's working with the drain commissioner, and see if there's another way of doing things. See if there's something that they see that the drain commissioner's not seeing. Is maybe an alternate route or an alternate plan, or how to modify things or do things a little bit differently. So the initial project review was estimated for $2,000 to $4,000, and never mind that hourly fee for $2,000 to $4,000. That's a typo there. But the estimated fee is for the initial project review was between $2,000 and $4,000, depending on how much time it takes. This is what you guys wanted. So if there's any other comments or questions about it, I think we should definitely get our engineering firm involved in this. And
That's a minimal fee for what, if there's alternate solutions and they're looking at it in our best interest for the residents, that was a big project.
if we take $1 million project and we make it a $750,000 or $800,000 project for $4,000, it's money well spent.
Yeah, definitely. Need a motion for it?
Yes, we do.
I'll make a motion to proceed forward with the initial project review with Spicer for the intercounty drain.
Support.
It's been motioned and supported to approve the initial project review for the intercounty drain. Any further discussion?
I do have one question.
Sure.
Any idea, because it doesn't really outline it in this document, any idea as to timeline?
There you go,
Well, the
Phil.
initial reveal will have to be pretty soon, because I think they're moving ahead
Right.
with their
I guess that's what I want.
special assessment and things.
So once we put this in the hopper, sign the deal, how long?
Couple weeks,
Okay, that's good.
and we'll have to do it pretty quick.
Yeah.
Right.
Before they get too far down a path.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Next on the agenda is Resolution 170801 to proceed with the project and direct the preparation of the plans and cost estimates for the proposed Silver Lake Estates Waste Collection Special Assessment Project.
Okay, we were going to discuss this a couple weeks ago, and I had received a few phone calls from some residents who were for the project, and I had a couple from residents who were opposed to the project. So I asked for an escrow deposit, and then, which seemed like it was going to be a little bit difficult to come up with. And after that, I did speak with, I think you, right, the petitioner's daughter, and she did inform me that the people that they had signed the petitions were fully informed as to what the project was going to entail, and I have not received any calls from residents that are objecting to this, so that's why it's back on the agenda. Okay. Can you speak up and...
My name is John, or Nicholas Fontana, Nicholas John. I live at 9306 English Drive. I object to the, first of all, to the thought that somebody took control of something that they didn't ask my opinion until they were going around with a petition for me to sign, which I would want to sign. And her response to me was that she didn't have enough time to discuss. So, yeah.
Sir, you were so aggressive to me that I did not want to spend one more.
You still have to explain to me what you're doing. And so that is what I have some questions on how it came about, who had the authority, why they had the authority, what they wanted, who, were they thinking about? And, that Mr. Welsh decided that, as far as I'm concerned, all on his own, that this was a good project for everybody. Well, I never heard of any situation up to the point when she brought the petition around. I talked to a few of my neighbors. They were not informed about it. They do not agree with it. I took a look and talked to another neighbor who didn't realize that there was going to be a potential 10% increase on their waste collection yearly without them having any opinion upon it, which is stated right in your brochure. And so I really have a problem with the way that this has gone forward. I think there's a lot of things. I had a neighbor that had a problem with one of the waste carriers that is on the list of carriers that are available for our area, and that waste carrier was not picking up his trash on a regular basis. He was very upset with them, so he contacted another waste carrier, and he had his trash collected the next week. I think that that's, the opportunity that we have and the opportunity that we lose when we do not get the opportunity to make a change on. I don't believe anybody has a right to tell me who and what I can spend my money on. I believe that some of the arguments that they had that were that it's going to save the road is ridiculous, because I think that the road was built to a specification, and if it wasn't, it was the Livingston County Road Commission that built the road, I understand, 5 or 6 years ago. So they have there was a specification and a life of the road. I don't believe taking these trucks off the road would, cause the road to go any longer than what it is. It potentially could, but it potentially couldn't. I believe that the increase in cost that is going to be given to us is much higher than I took a look at the Apple Blossom proposal that you have there that just went through. It's $20 higher. I took a look at another estate project that you have now. Their proposal is almost, our proposal would be almost $75 more than their proposal is, because they were proposed at $149. We're proposed at $225.
That's only in the first year, though.
But still, there's a potential for the second year or the first year, then it goes down to $175, and then a potential 10% each year.
No,
Potential.
not
I didn't
each.
say there wasn't.
No, not
No.
each year. The 10%, what we would do is we would factor in, what we did with Apple Orchard is we factored in a 3% increase each year, because we know costs are going to go up each year, and it may or may not be up to 3%, but we We don't know 10 years out. Go ahead.
Excuse me, but according to the proposal that was sent around, it says it could have up to a 10% increase
No.
without any, and that's what it says right here.
That's over the life of the project, if the
It doesn't
cost,
say that. It says, final cost estimate. Yeah. The annual redetermination of costs on the project when made in public hearing will not be necessary for such annual redeterminations, providing that the annual cost does not exceed the final cost estimate by 10%.
right, but that's over the whole period of the
The
project.
final cost.
The final
Huh?
cost.
The final
Final
cost, the
cost.
total
Final
cost.
cost of
The
It's a
estimate.
10-year or a 5-year,
Of a-
if it's,
Yeah,
it
it's
depends on
SED.
how long the assessment's for, that final cost of 5-year or 10-year or 20-year.
That still doesn't make any sense, because I asked you also specifically, is this going to be reevaluated every single year? And you said no. So is this going to be, we're going to get a 5-year estimate, and our costs are going to remain the same, except for possibly 2 to 3% increase for X amount of years?
Right, and if the waste company increased the rates more than that, then we'd be back to where you'd have to petition again, and we would have to start this process all over, because we're going to be capped with the amount that we can actually increase the cost over the period of the assessment.
Well, who do we contact? Is it you that we contact, or Mr. Cunningham, that we contact if we have a problem? But, you know, because we do not have an association. Our association is nothing more than the Lake Association. So there is no association, there is no management, there is no representative that can be summoned for this particular situation. So, I mean, who would make the determination? I mean, the proposal came to me on a, you know, one night when somebody showed up, and when she showed up, she just said, sign this proposal, and, you know, is that the way it's gonna go? Is we're gonna have something go on? Is that the only way that we're gonna do business?
What kind of a problem are you thinking that you're going to have?
I don't know.
Because if you have a problem with the waste company, you're going to have to contact them. If they don't pick your garbage up, you're not going to contact me, you're going to contact
But you're
them.
stating that yeah, you're right, okay? But what I'm saying is that if you have a continuous problem, what is our process in order to make a change? What is our opportunity for us to make a change? Is there an opportunity for us to make? Because you're stating now you're going to have a 5 to 10-year contract. So during that 5 to 10-year contract, what opportunities do we have? What do we need to know that will make this opportunity? What's the final outcome? I mean, I was quite offended by this letter that Mr. Welch put out, because fewer trucks on the road preserve our roads. I believe that that's just a scare tactic. Trash cans not being out 4 or 5 days out, they're not usually that bad. Noise reduction. God, the amount of people that we got going through the whole place to cut our lawns is far noisier than these guys are. And equitable pricing. So we all should pay the same just because one person decides that, or half the people decide that they want to pay the same price. Where's our freedom? Where's my freedom? Where's my opportunity to make a difference? Where's my answers when I ask a question? Somebody just runs away from the door. Yes, I'm very upset about this.
Do you want to
I moved
have,
to this area because I
let's
wanted
have her
freedom.
explain the petitioning process, because as a resident,
I've
what,
heard her participate.
okay,
You know, I mean, I've been in contact with her. I've asked her a number
okay.
of questions.
So you do understand that a resident has the right to petition to have a majority in an area or a certain number of parcels. You know, it can happen.
But usually it's done, Mike, you want to take over?
No, I want to take over. My name's Mike Money. I live at 9320 Englishman. I never saw anything about this. Okay, so the first thing I saw was when John showed me something. The second thing I saw was a letter that was on our lawn that was from Mr. Welch that said, forget it, we dropped it. So you haven't heard anything in a couple of weeks, that's because he put a letter out that we're not doing this. The question I have then becomes, my lawn looks better than most people's in that neighborhood. Why can't I just start a petition saying, you know what, you need to use my lawn service, you need to use people that do my fertilization. And so I want my area to look as good as everybody else's. Well, guess what? I choose it, it's my choice. I understand wanting to get rid of the blighted looking area that we have. I got that. But to not have any say in, and it didn't seem like it was, because I never got it. You know.
Not for lack of trying at your house, I will say that.
Well, I've been home all summer, you know that.
I've
You weren't
went
home
on all the
enough.
houses on
Pardon me?
both sides of you.
You weren't home
He
enough.
lives two down from me.
I can't.
I know.
Can we keep this conversation, if you have something to say, address the board, please,
Well-
and then keep the,
Got it.
thank you, I
The-
appreciate
The
it.
whole point then becomes, I lived there for 22 years, and in that time, we did this, where we all had the same carrier. Well, then the carrier started to jack their prices a little bit. Then the carrier became unresponsive. Now, you can sit there and say, well, we can call the carrier. You know what, sadly, some of these operations don't work that well. And so, a lot of us did change. And now, we've got different days. And again, I understand Mr. Welch would like to see everybody's out on the same day, but I gotta tell you the truth, we got some people that came from God knows where to park on frickin' lawns, and I don't care. I mean, I don't take that up, I wish it wasn't that way, but that's the way it is. So I do tend to agree with John, say, give me my freedom to do a choice, instead of you guys getting involved and saying, no, this is where you're going.
We are not the ones getting involved. It's the residents of your community who are asking for this.
I don't know what you
It has to be at least 51%, and they got 56%.
Again, I never heard a thing about it, so I won't address you about that because it's not your problem. So that's why I'm here. I'm not happy either that somebody said, well, 51% said you've got to use my lawn service. So I could actually start that then, couldn't I?
No.
Does the board say, why not?
Because that is not covered under, right,
Special assessment
MCO.
Special assessment, when I hear special assessment, can you explain to me what that means by chance? I mean, Anytime
You want it?
the board says
You want it?
special assessment, I'm going, oh, where's my wallet? I got to get away. So what's a special assessment?
So basically, what'll happen is they'll contract a price, and then it'll come on your tax bill. And you'll just pay it on your tax, and then we'll send the money to the sanitary.
So you are involved?
We're involved in collecting and paying the bills.
Yep.
We're basically a
Well, we have
pass-through.
no recourse, well, so are you assessing every resident in there, then in that division?
In that district.
Okay.
No, there
Yeah,
would
we-
be a clause, I think there would be, it's an annual contract for service, and there would be a stipulation, if there was
Right.
a majority of issues of not getting the service you're paying for,
Cancel the contract.
you can cancel the
I think it would,
contract.
But even the price, I don't know. Are we putting that out for bids? Is there going to be public hearings on the price?
There's, Mr. Welch is the one who is the petitioner, and he is the one who is contacting the waste companies to get bids from them. And then he will give them to me, and then I'm not going to pick
Well, according to Mr.
who.
Welch's letter, he's only gotten one bid.
He has
And
only
he's
one
only
so
had-
far,
he
but he
only
thought
had-
it was on hold, so now he's going to have to get some more bids. There's 4 companies out there that he needs to contact and get bids from.
So Mr. Welch's financial position determined upon the rest of the neighborhood? Truthfully, I can afford it, I don't care what comes to, but I'm not sure everybody's in that same boat. So I have a problem, so you're saying you didn't get people to call. There may be a number of people in my position as well that didn't know, that just didn't.
Well, and that's why there will be a public hearing, and letters will go out to all of the residents in the district, and they will all be made aware that there is a public hearing, at which time they can come, and if they have objections, that's their opportunity to get their objections on file.
Public hearing for signing a contract with that company?
It's
Or
a-
for this?
No, it's a public hearing to inform the residents that the special assessment is being proposed, and to give them an opportunity to express their opposition or their support.
Not unlike we're doing right now. Is that correct?
Right, this is not a public hearing. This is just,
And one of the things about the public hearing that as along with the letter that you're going to send out.
correct.
My proposal is that there isn't many people. So is there an alternative that we could utilize, like a sign? We have only 2 areas of entrance to this subdivision. Can we instead put our money into a sign? Putting it into, because there is alternatives that are out there from different townships in different parts of the state of Michigan on this proposal that they said, they use alternatives other than newspaper. So I propose that we put it somewhere else as opposed to a newspaper.
We're following our statutory requirements for it. In our,
You mean through the state of Michigan?
yeah, through the state of Michigan's.
But state of Michigan.
If you want
to.
to, if you want to put a sign out, you're free to do so.
Okay.
So,
Right, and what gave Mr. Welsh the power to speak for
He doesn't have the power to speak for you.
you?
He
He's making a
asked,
decision, this is going forward.
he asked
I
to
would
circulate a
like to opt out of this
petition.
In any situation, I'd like to opt out of it. Do I have that opportunity?
Are you going to let me speak?
Yes.
Okay. You have, if you want to appeal this, you must come to both of the public hearings, and your opposition must be on record. Then you have the opportunity to take your complaint to the Michigan Tax Tribunal. So that's your recourse.
And there's nothing that I can do today to
No.
stop this proposal, because Mr. Welsh has decided.
He hasn't decided. He has circulated the
He has
petition.
circulated a petition,
and the rest of the residents have,
I don't know,
Majority.
they understand
He's just
what they're
the-
getting into.
He's just the facilitator.
well, the public hearing will be the opportunity for everybody, they'll have time to speak, they'll have letters sent
I
out.
object.
We get that.
I object to
we-
this whole proceeding. I object that I'm forced to defend my position because this man decided to walk around and ask, should I walk around now and get another proposal that says we want to stop it? If I get more than 51%, would that stop this?
You'd have to go through the tax commission.
Right.
Tax tribunal. Yeah.
Real quick, we gotta get moving on here.
Yeah, I don't want to take too long, but I am Bill Welch, 9379 Englishman Drive. And I called Mike a couple of years ago and asked how we could do this,
Sure.
because I thought it was a good idea that gives the neighborhood a chance to agree or disagree. It was my idea alone. Well, he said, take a petition around. But at that time, I don't think you were into the assessment, or at least you didn't tell me about the assessment. But I talked to Marcy after I saw the Applewood situation, that they had just done the same thing. And I said, well, how can we do it? And you said, you have to take a petition. Well, I did take a petition around. I believe we covered every household. Now, not everybody answered the door. Sometimes I heard TVs going, and nobody would come to the door. Or, in the case of Nunley, I went there a couple of times and no one was there. I figured he was on vacation. I mean, when you take a petition around, you don't have 365 days to petition people. You have to do it in a timely manner. So we did the best we could, and I believe we covered every single household. And we got, like Marcy said, 56%. We wanted to give people an opportunity to say yes or no, whether they wanted to do it or not. And most people said, surprised me when people said, I hate to hear the garbage collectors in the morning waking me up.
Right.
That was where I got the idea of the noise thing. I mean, I didn't just make these things up on my own. This is what happened when I talked to the neighborhood. And most of them said, thank God somebody's doing this, because I wanted to do it myself and I just haven't done it. So, I mean, we're trying to follow the prescribed order of the township. I don't mean to create hard feelings with
There
anybody.
is one more thing that I need to.
Gentlemen, the time for public comment was at the beginning of the meeting and at the end of the meeting, and I have overextended that, and it's getting a little bit too much, so
Can I make-
I've got your objections, I've got your piece, I've got your objections. The next step is for the public hearing, so I'm going to end comment at this point. The board has to take action, and we've got a lot of things that we still need to accomplish tonight. So if this is resolved, then the letters will go out, public hearings will be here, and that'll be the time to voice more opinion. Okay? So the agenda item is Resolution 170801 to proceed with the project and direct the preparation of the plans and cost estimates for the proposed Silver Lake Estates Waste Collection Special Assessment.
More than 51% on it, right?
Right.
So resolved.
Take a look at the signature.
Support. Sir? It's been resolved in support for Resolution 170801 for the Silver Lake Estates Waste Removal Project to proceed with the project and directing preparation of the plans and cost estimates. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Soren Peterson,
No.
Chuck Schultz.
Yes.
David Walker,
No.
Mike Cunningham.
No.
I'm going to say yes. Marna Smith,
Yes.
Al Poole.
All right, 4-3, motion carries. So we will move on to our next agenda item, which is item number 6, resolution to approve the project, schedule the first hearing, and direct statutory notices for the proposed Silver Lake Estates Waste Collection Special Assessment Project.
I'll make the motion. I'll support.
Been motion and supported for it's been resolved and supported for Resolution 170802 to approve the project, schedule the first hearing, and direct statutory notice for the proposed Silver Lake Estates Waste Collection Special Assessment Project. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Al Poole,
Yes.
Marna Smith,
Yes.
Mike Cunningham.
No?
Soren Peterson,
No.
Chuck Schultz.
Yes.
David Walker,
No.
and I'm going to say yes.
So motion carries. Next is, well, so what's going to happen now for you guys is that the notices will go out on this and there'll be a public hearing. Item number 7, appointment of the new township treasurer. As we know that we have received a resignation from Marna, who's been with us for the better part of 7 years.
That's
6 years. 6, I'm sorry.
That's
You know, it's,
feels like it sometimes.
yeah, sometimes it does feel like it, so. So we have been,
I thought we rejected that. We formally rejected that.
Couldn't do it.
we could probably reject it when she shows up, then what do we do?
Okay.
So anyway,
Yeah, if she just stops showing up, that's a problem.
Marcy and I have been, we put a deadline out for applications, we received applications, and we conducted, I believe, 5 interviews for treasurer. One of the applicants that we interviewed actually backed out because she has a family and there were some concerns with the cost of insurance and stuff. So she decided that she was going to stay at her current position and, not proceed. So that left 4. After interviewing them all, Marcy and I sat down and we ranked them, and we both came up with Jennifer Eden as the person that we think is best suited. Some of you may know that name. She actually applied for the clerk position with Marcy, and she's already interviewed for us in a public setting. I didn't think that we needed to have any discussion, and we feel that her skill sets align with the position well. We like her personality, and we think that she'll fit well here. So I would, unless anybody has any questions, I would go ahead and make the motion that we appoint Jennifer Eden as the next treasurer to replace Mark.
Are you making a motion?
Yeah, I just made the motion.
I'll support it.
Okay. It's been motioned and supported to appoint Jennifer Eden as the new Tyrone Township treasurer to replace Marna. Any further discussion?
And just to be clear, that's for the capacity of what time then? Because she's completing Marcy's term.
Yeah, so she'll complete this, she has to run, we have to hold an election for her. And it'll be next year, I believe.
Okay.
So she has to run for the election.
Okay.
And then she has to run again in 2020 if she
wants to continue.
if she still has gas in the tank.
So special election after.
It's not a
Right.
special election.
It's going to be tied with another election.
Yes.
It is
Oh,
tied with
yeah,
another
I don't mean
election.
Yes.
Yeah, she's special.
Separate from.
She will be
Correct.
the, she'll be
Correct.
the only board member on that.
Yeah, I don't mean special
So-
election,
Okay.
we're just having. one.
Sure. I think I planted that seed. So, this actual.
It's a resolution.
This is a resolution. So, Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote, please?
And Al Poole,
Yes.
Mike Cunningham.
Yes.
I'm going to say yes. Soren Peterson,
Yes.
Chuck Schultz.
Yes.
David Walker,
Yes.
and then you don't vote, right? Okay,
She can't.
no,
She can't hear me say she's the outgoing.
I know.
All right, so we'll get a hold of her when she gets back from vacation next week and get a start date, and we'll get that ball rolling, and Marna can start working with her. We'll discuss that a little bit later as well. Agenda item number 8 and agenda item number 9 are requests, and I usually, when someone goes to training, I usually just say, all right, but they're a little different, and we actually don't have a written policy for sending people to training or how they're compensated for going to training. And I thought that was kind of odd, so I looked through our policies and we didn't have it. So the first one is our zoning administrator assistant, Joe. He belongs to the Michigan Municipal League, and he went to a training. He registered for this training prior to working here, and he told me that he was going to go to this. And I said, that'd be not a problem. Go ahead, you know. And it's related to his position. So here's the courses that he took. So he's asking that the township board pay his time to attend this training.
Oh, but not the training.
Did he pay
itself.
for any training classes?
No, the training was free. He
Okay.
just was away from work.
Well, it's
That's
benefiting
a-
the township.
Yeah.
It's education for person here.
Even though the Michigan Municipal League can't spell marijuana.
Yeah, because in there, if you go down, marijuana spelled on the window of the business.
I'm just saying.
Right there, it's spelled on the window.
Well, actually, there are two correct spellings of it, but the J is actually more commonly known.
So what's the cost?
Yeah, I think that's
It
when you
was
number.
three days.
He was gone for 3
days
days, so it'd be
of
3
his
days.
So 24 hours of his time
Right.
at whatever he's paid at the township.
Correct.
All right.
Which
For the
really,
township.
with what we have in our budget, I don't think that's going to be a concern. Yeah, we
I
could
think-
use it
I
out of the
think we
training
should.
portion.
So
Okay.
moved.
Support.
Been motioned and supported to approve the request of the assistant zoning administrator to attend training. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries.
And I still say they misspelled marijuana. Okay.
Okay, now this one too was an anomaly, that's why I brought it to the board. Request of the receptionist fire billing coordinator to attend assessing training. As you know, we have a position open for assessing, and she thought that she'd like to, it's a introductory, it's your MCAO certification that basically says you know what you're getting yourself into. I think it's a 3-day training course. She wanted to know if the township would pay for that and send her. The only caveat is it's not directly related to her position.
Are we creating redundancy in the staff, though?
Well, that's why I brought it to the board, because, I mean, it's training, it gives her a little insight of what's going on. It's not related to her position, but we don't have a policy, so, you know, I think what we need to do after this, regardless of what we decide here, is set up a policy on what we will do going forward.
I think if it needs to be related to the job you're doing, I don't have any problem, but, I mean, we potentially could be sending people to a lot of different trainings just because it sounds interesting, and I don't know that that's the right thing to do, even though we may have a training budget.
Well, I mean, you
She
do kind of look at a
potentially gonna move in that direction for us?
multitasking too,
She doesn't
though.
know yet. She wants to find out.
No. She's committing to move forward in that direction for the company, the township.
That's a different story.
That's
Yeah,
a
that's
different story.
different.
That would,
Yeah.
that mean the whole interview process has to occur, you know.
Right.
Say no.
There are more training classes, I do know that are available, so if she were to be selected, then of course I wouldn't have any problem with it.
I see what you're saying.
I mean, if this is just for her to just get something and she can't run over and help the assessing department,
Right.
this isn't for that. This
No.
isn't for the
Right.
fact that she may be transferring over there. For us in the assessing department, why would we pay for it if she doesn't have that intention? That's just my thought.
Okay.
I'm not opposing it. I mean,
If she had the intention and we needed the help and we needed somebody redundant in the office to help step in when it's needed, then that's a different story.
is there anybody that has a different thought on that?
That kind of sums it up right there.
I agree with Chuck.
Yeah.
Okay, then
There'll be other classes that.
I will entertain a motion on it then.
Well, you don't need a motion to not do something.
It's just, it's a request.
It's a request.
So we're
Okay.
denying the request.
So we're not doing anything.
Yeah.
Okay, since there's no motion, then we will move on to, is that how I understand it? Nobody wants to motion on this? Okay. So now we're moving on to agenda item number 10, request to purchase 2 computer systems and software per schedule.
So every year, we try to upgrade 2 computers, and we have a budget so that we can do that, so that we can try to keep a little bit current. We have 2 employees whose computers were purchased in 2012 that we have a quote here for to upgrade their computers and it'll be the 19-inch monitors, but they'll be for the deputy treasurer. She's going to have the dual monitors. It just makes, I have the dual monitors, and it just makes
Everybody's going to
things
it.
so much easier. So, and then the other one is for our planning and zoning person, and he doesn't need monitors. He's got two big monitors.
I just want to make sure that the systems are dual monitor capable with his current configuration.
Yeah.
I sent that email out to the.
So I'm sure we'll get a response
the provider,
back.
just to make sure, so before we order them, that would be the only caveat, is make sure that we're not having to order additional stuff after we order it. Send them to us complete and let's get to work.
And this is within our budget?
Yeah, we have,
This is within the budget
yeah,
for
we
the year?
have a
Yeah,
little over
this is something we do
3,200
every
in
year.
there.
We take 2, bring in 2 new ones and get rid of 2 old ones.
The 2 oldest, yeah.
And I think we finally got rid of the XPs last year. They're no longer being supported.
So then that price would be eliminate the 290 then, if we're not doing the 22-inch
Correct.
monitor, right?
Correct.
I think that was an additional, that was an option,
It's optional.
yeah.
Oh, wait, maybe
Can
it
you
was.
choose one of them?
Oh, it was 1958, then it would be plus.
Plus
the-
240.
Right.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
Yep.
Okay. All right, I make a motion to approve the
Support.
technology.
For the 2,
2 computers.
so 2 monitors.
2 monitors, for 2 computers and monitors.
Chuck supported.
With motion and supported to purchase 2 new computers and 2 monitors. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, that motion carries.
3 monitors?
Oh, you do?
I have 3.
Oh,
I'm not working your emails.
All right, moving on to item number 11. It's the authorization to remove a tree on White Lake Road. Ran across another tree that really needs to come out. It's on White Lake Road. It's a big oak tree. It is dead, and it's leaning. It's just a matter of time.
Speaking from experience, we just wait for a nice calm night.
Yeah.
It'll take care of itself.
Because mine did, just down here.
Is yours a maple tree too, or an oak tree, or
Oh,
oak? It was
Well, we
huge.
just don't want them landing on grandmother's car.
Yeah, no, I get there, 10 o'clock on a Friday
Children,
night, didn't
yeah.
hit anything, so,
Yeah, so,
okay.
So what, do we use right-of-way funds again on this, or are we using different?
we have
We just received some right-of-way funds,
we could use right-of-way funds. We could,
because it's up,
we have done that in the past.
we're up to 11,000 now. We just received like
It's
8,000.
a big one. Where's the,
1950
yep.
is the total bid.
yeah. So, I mean, we could take that out of right away, or we could take it out of,
I'd prefer to take
Road.
it out of right-of-way.
Probably just bring it down to the
yeah.
okay.
I just pretty much.
Yep.
flush.
I make a motion to accept the bid for the tree removal to be used out of right-of-way
That was
funds.
1950, right?
Yes.
1950.
These are the guys we use for the right-of-way all the time.
This is who we've contracted
Contract
with.
with.
I just had them prepare the estimate and send it over. Been motion and supported to approve the removal of the tree on White Lake Road for $1,950. Any further discussion?
Yeah, what's the address? Were there about?
9,400 Whitaker, so.
White Lake.
Or White Lake, I mean.
Yeah.
9,400?
Is that your house?
No.
Okay. I was gonna make you go out there and cut it if it was. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? That motion carries. Next is reappointment of 2 planning commissioners. Mr. Mark Meisel and Mr. Bill Woods' terms will be expiring at the end of the month.
Do they want to be appointed?
They do.
You want to continue?
They want to continue, so I will make a motion that we reappoint Mark and Bill, and these will be 3-year terms. Support. Can I get a second?
Yeah.
Okay. It's been motioned and supported to reappoint Mark Meisel and Bill Wood to the Planning Commission. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? That motion carries. Still on, Don?
Still on.
Keep going.
Okay, and then I have, where's the rest of my agenda go?
Reappointment.
Three appointments for, actually 2, because Mark is appointed by the ZBA. So I have 2 for the Zoning Board of Appeals. That would be Don Lavasco, and the other one is going to be Don Bunka. Lori will not be coming back, so Don has been on our ZBA before, and he has expressed interest in being back in, so I'll entertain a motion to reappoint them for 3-year terms.
Support.
It's been motioned and supported to appoint Don Lavasco and Don Bunka as an alternate to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? That motion carries. In my fumbling, I lost the back part of my agenda. It's okay, I got it right here. Next is item number 14, rental of a storage unit. We have almost cleaned out the old town hall. We've got the new voting equipment. It stores much better than the old voting equipment. The old voting equipment has been sold off and bought back, and it's gone. So what we have in there are some tables, some boxes, a couple of gorilla racks with old ballots and things that we have to keep as permanent retention. The plan is to get that town hall cleaned up, and use it for something. We've approached the Historical Society about, using it for tours or setting things up there, and there was some interest. So we had to get it cleaned out. So we looked at the local storage unit place here, which is, what's the name of the unit?
AmeriGuard.
And we looked at a 10 by 10, a 12 by 10, and a 12 by 15.
10 by 15.
Or 10 by 15. So we were looking at the 12 by 10, and that was
75.
$75 a month, and then the other one would be $80 a month. The way we have a few things around here that kind of need to be put in it, so I'm thinking that the 10 by 15, yeah, that would probably be the better way to go for $80 a month.
So is it mostly then for the election to just store and?
It's to get
for
all-
the elections to be secured and?
No,
the equipment,
actually, we won't even be putting election equipment in there other than the signs and things
Oh,
that aren't climate, don't have to be
Oh,
climate
okay.
And
controlled.
we have a few things around here that file cabinets that were, are full. They're got some retention. We have 140 chairs, but we only have an 80 capacity. We need to clear up a little bit of space and make things a little bit more manageable around here. And, rather than going and adding that $20,000 barn extension that was quoted, we'd be better off just doing this, so. I'll make a motion that we rent the 10 by 15 storage unit at $80 a month.
Is this going to be adequate protection to the stuff that's going to be put in there?
Yeah, yep. It's gated, it's armed. We have a dog. You have to put a lock on it.
Well, I was thinking more like dust and moisture and things like that.
None of that stuff's gonna be bothered by that. And it'll all be all up off the floor anyway. Do I have a motion? Do I have a,
Also move.
that would be support. It's been motioned and supported to purchase a storage unit at AmeriGuard for $80 a month. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, that motion carries. Now, what was the last thing that I had added?
Compensation policy for
Yep.
consulting.
Right there.
There it is. And then, item number 15 is a compensation policy. We actually didn't have a policy written for outgoing elected officials that want to stick around and train. So we figured the best way to do it is just take their rate of pay, divided by the hours of they work a week, and then divided by 52 weeks to come up with an hourly rate. So you can see an example here, an employee that makes $34,000 a year, works 32 hours a week, 52, it's $20 an hour. So they would get paid $20 an hour to come in and train a new person that's taking over their position. So Martin is definitely going to have to spend a little bit of time with Jennifer to get her up to speed, get her caught up on the laws, the banking, the taxes. All right, it's been motioned and supported. It's been resolved and supported. Resolution 17084 for a compensation policy for consulting services for former township officials. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Soren Peterson?
Okay. Yes.
Yes. Chuck Schultz?
Yes.
Yes.
David Walker?
Yes.
Al Poole?
Yes.
Marna Smith?
Yes.
Mike Cunningham?
Yes.
And Marcy Husted, yes.
Okay. So that motion carries. We don't have any other miscellaneous business. Do we have any public remarks?
I do have a question, because I'm sitting here.
I know Chris is
About
sitting in the audience.
about four agenda items back, I looked down and I went, why is Chris Weir sitting on the?
I know.
So I looked
Yeah.
down at this.
I didn't know.
and I went,
Okay.
why is
this.
Chris Weir sitting down here? I
Yeah.
didn't see him on the agenda anywhere.
Good evening.
Hi, Chris.
We have just about everything. There are some loose ends that our engineer our planning commission, not our engineer, but one of our planning commission said, was some numbering on the sheets. And we can't discern what it is. And he's gonna have to push it to the next meeting to get it cleared out. I'm gonna say we've had, I'm not gonna name any names, but dealing with this, we've had things in the past where the paperwork isn't complete and it causes problems with recording and this and that. So I'm truly sorry to make you have to sit here through the meeting, but I want to make sure that everything is right. And
If it's with the conditions, if there was any conditions to be
Right.
met, we're not 100%
And it was,
sure what those
this was a
conditions
last
are.
hour try to get it done, and then when it came in, there was this email, and it didn't make any sense, and some things that needed to be changed, and I'm like, wait. So I promise you that on the next agenda, you will be number one, so you won't have to wait.
And so
And
my
that'll be-
our understanding then is, you know, with the conditions, you were looking to confirm that the new drawings and the new legals meet the conditions that were made by the.
Correct.
Right, correct.
Right.
So it seems like we have the drawings now, which should be right, but we got to make sure. Yeah. And when, our next
I
meeting?
understand your position because when I'm looking at them, you know, it's not my skill set either, so.
We had an issue in the past where didn't have it right, and it got recorded, and it created a big rat's nest. So,
Needs to be right, that's for sure.
Yeah. So our next meeting, we are having?
Yes.
one on
yes,
the
we
5th?
are having a meeting.
So it'll be on the 5th.
We have a public hearing.
Yeah, there you, that's right.
Right.
We have a public hearing.
We'll assume that you guys will help us meet.
I will get with Ross, we'll get it clarified, we'll get these things done. I don't think that anybody on this board is opposed to moving this forward as long as all the terms are met by the planning commission. So I can't say that it's approved until we have everything, but I don't see anything here tonight that's going to stop that. So with that, we'll give you a little bit of,
If you could just do us a personal favor and move it along.
that
as
along.
best- And I know if it's not right, it's not right, but, you know, it seems like.
yeah, I got your message later this afternoon. I got Ross, I got everybody on it, tried to get it done, and then it didn't make sense. So I don't want to try to push something and create a whole other set of problems, which it wouldn't be right for everybody, so. But we'll get you, it'll be new business, item number 1 next time, and it'll be done.
Thank you, and congratulations to y'all for getting through 3 hours of business and.
Yeah.
that's-
Presentations and everything, yeah.
It's one thing we try to do, we try to.
I just
Try to
kind of
get
feel
it
bad you had to sit through it.
I truly apologize.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
See how the township works.
So we have no miscellaneous business, public remarks? Okay, we have no public remarks, so I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
It's been motioned and supported to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Meeting's adjourned. There is your last meeting as the treasurer.